Welcome back to the world of IDW Sonic the Hedgehog. And right now, that world isn't looking so good. Zombots ravage the landscape, finding and assimilating the uninfected into their ranks, slowly but surely transforming the world into the future Silver witnessed. Although, according to Silver, aside from patches of metallic grass, there were no signs of Zombots, just a dead world. It thankfully hasn't happened yet, but things aren't looking so good. Before I go any further, I should place my obligatory spoiler alert here. And let's continue. Sonic and Omega, or rather Omega's head, escaped the Sunset City Horde thanks to Tails and Silver, and the Restoration slowly losing the battle against the Zombots. Not to mention, based on this image here, the facility's running out of room for refugees. There is one chance to possibly find a cure to the virus. Tails wants to analyze Sonic as he burns off the symptoms via running. However, his more sophisticated equipment is in his Central City lab, and the city might be a viable target. On the villains front, Dr. Starline, out of desperation to control the Zombots, plans to bring the Deadly Six into this mess. Yeah, we'll see how that goes. Our story begins with Tails witnessing the face ship puking out metal virus goo over Central City. He wants to halt his research to evacuate the civilians, but Tangle and Whisper, who's with him for some reason, will go out instead. As Zombots start populating the area, Tails remains inside his lab gathering Sonic's running data, even discouraging the Hedgehog from coming to his aid for the sake of research. Tails then contacts Restoration HQ to let them know of his progress. Amy also informs Tails that she's prepping shuttles to evacuate Central City survivors. Which brings us to Tangle and Whisper. They were able to find some people and direct them to the docks. Despite holding them back, the Zombots keep coming. For some reason, they cannot get a hold of Restoration HQ, and Silver can't help because he's busy elsewhere. The two eventually get away thanks to Whisper utilizing Hover. She also informs Tangle that while the Wisps are in use, they're pure energy, thus they can't get infected. Good to know. Tails begins analyzing how the speed data combats the virus, and hopes to apply this effect to the others. However, to increase his chance of success, he needs to get a live sample. Risking infection either by goo or Zombot, he successfully obtains some of the former. Things are starting to look up. Hey, hold on a second. Are those shadowy figures in the background? Oh boy, that's always a bad sign. Speaking of bad, during all this, Dr. Starline pays Zavok and his associate Zor a visit. He explains that he is here in an unofficial capacity from Eggman and presents an offer to command incredible power and destroy Sonic the Hedgehog. Zavok agrees to this proposal. After Starline leaves, Zavok has Zor gather the others as they prepare for the inevitable backstabbing. Back at Tails' lab, by analyzing the fresh sample along with Sonic's speed data, he may be able to not only create an immunity to the virus, but possibly reverse the process. As he uploads the data to Restoration HQ servers, the power cuts out. How typical. And it's all thanks to Zombot's cheese and Chocola. More Zombots invade the lab, and Tails runs for it, losing the server blades and thus the data in the process. He makes it behind some shutter doors where he breaks out his means of escape, the Cyclone Walker. He meets up with Tangle and Whisper. The former, of course, is impressed by Tails' vehicle. He'll hold him off while the two protect the survivors at the dock. A single restoration ship arrives. That's odd. I thought Amy had more than one available. Maybe they were needed elsewhere. Zombot starts swarming the Cyclone, and Tails has no choice but to arm its self-destruct and bail. I assume it's the self-destruct based on the explosion. He makes it aboard the departing shuttle and finds a distressed Amy. Soon we learn the real reason why there was only one shuttle. They were the only survivors from an attack on Restoration HQ. You have to feel bad for Tails. He risked infection getting all that data, and it was all for nothing. He couldn't transfer it to other computers thanks to a power outage, and the server blade the data was on broke. Talk about a kick to the gut. Tails understands it's not the Zombot's fault. They're merely victims of Eggman's cruelty. Still, he deserves a hug, especially since he had to sacrifice the Cyclone, his beloved walker from Sonic Adventure 2. At least it went down protecting the survivors from the Zombots. From what little we saw of Tails' Central City lab, one of the buildings I believe resembles his head. Is it an unwritten rule that geniuses have structures resembling themselves in some fashion? Must be an ego thing. This brings us to Starline and the Zeddy. Well, the deal has been struck. As I've repeatedly stated, this situation will wind up ending badly for anyone who's not a Zeddy. Unless there's an unexpected twist like Starline finding a new means to control them, or as one commenter pointed out, they get infected as well. The scene at the Lost Hex also informs us that, yes, the Zeddy are indeed alive, at least in the IDW continuity, and that thanks to Eggman leaving a bunch of computers and junk around, they've been keeping tabs on the world below via the Eggnet. The appearance of Tangle and Whisper at the beginning, admittedly, is a bit jarring. It's like, here we are to help save the day. It would make sense they get involved given how widespread the Zombot epidemic is. All I'm asking is a little explanation to how they got here. Although, given how this and the next two issues are laid out, as I'll discuss in a bit, we may get that explanation later on, along with an explanation why Silver is somewhere else. It's clear Tangle and Whisper have become close thanks to the events of their miniseries. I should note that at the time of this video's release, the miniseries is only halfway done, so we'll have to wait for that story to be told, or not if you're watching this sometime in the future. You may have noticed different art styles present in this issue. We have not one, not two, not even three, but 4 different pencilers present. Pages 1 through 10 were done by Lamar Wells, another veteran of the Archie Sonic comics, along with Reggie Graham, who previously did work on the 2019 annual. Yes, he worked on this story with Jonathan Gray doing the line art. Jennifer Hernandez worked on pages 11 through 15, 17, 18, and 20, and, I'm sorry if I pronounced this name wrong, Priscilla Tramontano for pages 16 and 19. The last one having done work as a colorist and inker for previous IDW Sonic works. While it may seem excessive, some of them might have focused just on the line art so others can take over. Despite the different art styles, there's still some consistency, helped by having one colorist, Heather Breckel in this case, throughout the issue. The destruction of the data is this comic's way of telling us, this metal virus problem's not going away anytime soon, and things will get worse. At the very least, Tails might have retained some knowledge about how the virus works, so there's at least a little bit of hope, and they'll need it since the story ends on another downer. According to solicitations, the events of issues 21, 22, and 23 occur simultaneously, with this one focusing on Tails gathering Sonic speed data, issue 23 having Sonic running around to give Tails the data, and issue 22 is the fall of Restoration HQ. Come back next time as we see who else besides Amy survives the assault.
Wait, these specific birds are the Flickies from Sonic 3D Blast. Does this mean Flicky Island exists in this continuity? If it does, that place is screwed.